I don't think there is any problem with black men preferring mixed women. I think mixed people can be preferred by someone too. I'm all for people going where they need to go and doing what they need to do to find happiness. Also, as black people are a minority at 14% of the population, it is probably easier to find someone who is the best fit for you out of the 93% of the population. And mixed people are only 2% of the population. So, no, I don't have any problem with interracial dating or people having preferences. So yeah, I don't have any problem with black men who have a real preference or an interest due to habitants. The problem I have is that I like genuinity. Um, so yeah, I had some Asian or white men who told me they like mixed race women, and it didn't bother me because I felt like it came from a place of appreciating and interest in me for who I am and my values as a person. With black men, more of what I experienced is, taking note of my skin tone or mixed ancestry and hyping that up. Like, like I feel like I'm being fetishized, like I'm being reduced to a skin color, as if to imply that being mixed is a good thing, better than just being black. Well then, where does that put mixed? That means mixed is less than white, Hispanic, Asian on this whole racial hierarchy. So I don't see how I am supposed to appreciate this or take being offended as a compliment. I mean, I'd have to have a pretty low self-esteem to accept someone appreciating me because they don't value themselves. At this point, I feel like they just want to be enabled and for you to go along with this whole idea of them trying to run from themselves. My self-esteem, I think it would have to be pretty low to accept someone appreciating me because they are a broken person, and I would just have to be so low and just not care where it's coming from. So that's what I feel like happens to a lot of mixed women. They will go for black men because they feel nobody else will want them, and so they choose the colorist black men because they will point out their mixed background, making them feel like they have a true identity that isn't acknowledged by any other people who often just see them as black. I think it takes a lady with a very low self-esteem to accept such a man. If a woman agreed with how these men thought, she wouldn't go anywhere, near them. If these men were women, they wouldn't want anything to do with themselves. So that's why being a preference is just one part of it. I think what makes these women receptive to these type of men is being broken down by other people, by racism, by society. So when you're mixed, you are seen as a lesser human being by being mixed with black, no matter what other races you are. So with these men, these women feel like they are put on top of someone for once who is basically alluding to being less than them by their own standards. So I just find it kind of insulting when a black man has a preference frame like this. It's just kind of frustrating dealing with someone like this. Like, you hate what you look like and you hate what you are. I don't think it's right for me to accept someone to hate themselves. I think we should all love ourselves. I think it's just playing with fire to get into a relationship with someone off of superficial fetishes or self-hate. When I was younger, I was open to these sort of black men. Like in my late teens, I went out with one, and it was funny because he clearly thought that my light skin was supposed to symbolize something. He was basically expecting me to be like a light-skinned baddie or something like that. When that's not who I am at all. I'm more, kind of a humble, kind of dorky kind of person. I'm like non-confrontational. And he was like, disappointed, and I ended up being berated and treated like crap, basically. So yeah, to make it clear, I don't think all black men are like this. I think there are different levels to this. There are black men I encounter that just pass me by on the street or are cordial and don't have this like desperate energy. I have no idea what percentage of black men are like this. This is just what I encounter the most with black men who go out of their way to interact with me. So I don't think that all black men that prefer light skin or mixed or other race women fit in this category. Same for the mixed women. So the other thing I'm going to touch on regarding this ordeal of black men preferring mixed looking women, not as black as them, is the irrational hate some of these black men have for black women. So there's this whole notion that basically black women are too masculine, combative, unattractive, and that mixed women are more submissive, feminine, and attractive, basically. I mean, if this is what black women are, then what does that make black men compared to other races? I mean, I don't understand how these black males don't see how they're feeding into racism against themselves, or why you would think you're too good or above your own race of women. So yeah, you devalue yourself by doing this, and basically a pot calling the kettle black. So yeah, how are you going to be offended as a black woman by these men basically hating their own features? They shouldn't be causing anyone anguish except for themselves, because they basically put themselves down. I mean, if you pay attention to the messenger, basically having the same features that they're hating on, at least you weren't the person to go on to basically say you do not like being black, you don't want to be black, you don't like your black features on the internet where anyone can see. So yeah, I think if you have like a poor self-esteem, you're not going to have a good opinion of people who remind you of yourself, and a lot of black men are reminded of themselves by black women. For someone who thinks that way, they're going to be of the mindset that anything black is less than, and they will treat black women, black men, and black children that way. So I think black men try to put black women down because if they can't see themselves as ideal, then they feel they are nothing to anyone, with white men being the standard of masculinity. So that's where the insecurity is coming from. So they feel they have to put black women down enough, so they feel like they are not at the very bottom and black women will go to them. So yeah, I just find the whole idolization of mixed women at the expense of black women as weird and objectifying, because it is stemming from internalized self-hate, which is just unhealthy to everyone involved. And if you're a mixed person who don't prefer these black males, they get offended and they go into saying how there is nothing wrong with dark skin, or that you don't like black people, while you asserting nothing of that, but validated their own feelings, which is why they get upset, while they themselves hate on black people for, just being black themselves. I think instead of paying attention to or having animosity toward these sort of people, I think we need to push them to get help, to get mental health therapy. They just need to start, loving themselves. That way they won't feel the need to hate on anyone. So to summarize, I don't have anything against black men, and I do wish them well. I think black men are just as good as any other men. I don't think they are inferior. I think some of them feel inferior. So you need to just stop looking at things for what you see and look at things for what they are. So humans, they aren't always the best at thinking logically, so that's why we have tools like history and science to help us figure things out. So I hope this video isn't too triggering. That's not my goal at all. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's all I had to say on this, and thank you for watching.